David was far away, but he got the message. A man came from the battlefield to report to David. He was dusty, he was dirty, he was bloody, he was frightened that he just barely gotten out alive. And David investigated, he interrogated this man. David said to him, "How did things go? Please tell me." And he said, "The people have fled from the battle, and also many of the people have fallen and are dead. And Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also." Then David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and so also did all the men who were with him. They mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and his son Jonathan, for the people of the Lord and the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. And David said, "Your beauty, O Israel, is slain on your high places. How have the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, proclaim it not in the streets of Ashkelon, or the daughters of the Philistines will rejoice, the daughters of the uncircumcised will exult. O mountains of Gilboa, let not dew or rain be on you, nor fields of offerings. For there the shield of the mighty was defiled, and the shield of Saul not anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan did not turn back, and the sword of Saul did not return empty. Saul and Jonathan were loved and blessed in their life, and in their death they were not parted. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions. O daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you luxuriously in scarlet, who put ornaments of gold on your apparel. How have the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? Jonathan is slain on your high places. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. You have been very pleasant to me. Your love to me was more wonderful than the love of women. How have the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished?" One of the great regrets that David had was that he was unable to reconcile with his warrior brother and Saul the king while they still lived. When a loved one falls suddenly, here we're honoring those who fall suddenly in battle, but many of us have experienced loved ones who have died suddenly, and we were unable to reconcile with them before that time. And there's loss there. There is loss. Let me try to maybe put it personally in context here. In this Southern California area, of all the people in this area, very few are anointed by the grace of God through Jesus Christ as Christians. In Israel at that time, David and Saul were the only two anointed to be king. Very few anointed as followers of Jesus Christ. How tragic if we, as fellow anointed believers, have conflict one with another. And how even more tragic if, as we have conflict one with another, we do not seek forgiveness and successfully have reconciliation before that one is no longer around. There is no way for us to seek reconciliation. David's sorrow was deep because he would never again see Jonathan, his brother. He would never again, face to face with Saul, seek forgiveness and reconciliation. There was a great deal undone, and it would never be made right. And David sorrowed. We lose dear brothers and sisters. Do we leave those periods of time when we have been alienated from them, and then it gets to be too late, and we do not seek the forgiveness and reconciliation before it's too late? That's important as we think about Memorial Day. There are oftentimes our brothers are very close to us, and we're very close to them. And yet we do not have the opportunity or the time or the energy or the effort to get right with them before the time passes. There's a further portion of this story, and I think there's a lesson here that we can learn too, because David knew it was too late for him to have that time of closeness once again with Saul and Jonathan. But as he became king, he sought out the sons of Saul and Jonathan, particularly Jonathan. And he reconciled and he brought togetherness with them. Sometimes as Christians, we are not able to directly go to the person that has been offended or that we have offended and straighten things out. But there are those maybe close to them that we can seek reconciliation from and seek closeness to. Never give up the opportunity, never give up the requirement, really, that we as Christians seek to make things right one with another, that we might have fellowship one with another from this point on. Young Daniel Unger, 19 years old, died. I had no real opportunity to really get to know this young man. He was a Christian. His father is a Baptist preacher, which I found out later. Good old Southern Baptist preacher. And as a result of Daniel's death, his father joined the military. The State Military Reserve Chaplain. Every year, at least once or twice a year, Mark Unger and myself get together, and we are brothers in Christ. And we hug, and we weep, and we share, and we reminisce. Because I did a service for Daniel in Iraq, and of course he did the service for Daniel here. And both of us have a bond. So sometimes as Christians, even though we miss opportunities to reconcile with that person who's close by, find a way to reconcile and get right with those who maybe not quite as close, but still related to that one that we've lost. That's what Memorial is all about too. If you've ever been to a memorial service, you will meet people who are remembering a certain particular individual, and then they will come across someone who is remembering an individual in that same unit. Or there is a closeness there. There's some kind of a connection. And they begin to comfort one another and find reconciliation and wholeness one with another and encouragement. And as Christians, I think we should always remember, although we are distressed by the loss of that who is our warrior brother, we can find comfort, encouragement, and closeness by those who were closest to them in civil life, in domestic life. I think Jesus has given us a great ability to join one with another in the family of God. And we need to find ways that we can continue to work through that and work one with the other. David said, "Oh, how the mighty have fallen." But he learned how to seek those who were left and help them out during that time. Sometimes we miss opportunities of closeness with our fellow Christians and fellow believers, and sometimes even family members. But we can find closeness and reconciliation with those who are left if Christians would reach out and make that effort to make things right. So, even though we lose, sometimes we can gain as well. It's good to remember the losses that we've had. but it's also good to be there for those others who have experienced loss and to be a support for them. Can we, as we remember those who have died for our country, also be those who seek to reconcile the alienated from ourselves and from God? Memorial Day is not only for the military. It's a time for all of us to reflect and to find out, can I really reach out to those who are left and make reconciliation with them and seek forgiveness and comfort one with another? If not what happened to Daniel that day, I never would have met Mark Unger. He's a soulmate now. He and I have walked very similar paths as fellow chaplains. He's someone that I've been able to turn to, and he turns to me every time we meet. And sometimes it's a year apart, but it's like it was yesterday once we see each other. Because we're able to join one with another and comfort one another because of what occurred. As Christians, don't neglect the opportunity to join one with another and encourage one another, even in this time where maybe we've experienced loss. And think about how we can be a better service to our fellow believers around. Many of here, I understand, are home folks, so this is not really an evangelistic message, but it is an encouragement, I think, for Christian renewal. And as we remember, let's also seek to move forward in renewal one with another. And I believe we will have an invitation, and as such, we'd like to have an opportunity, just as you think about where in your life you can make things right, even though maybe down in the past there are things that you cannot reconcile.